It's time to reveal my NFL Thanksgiving picks to you, with one of them receiving the highest A grade. I hope you will get a chance to spend good time with your family while watching great football games together. Last week, our betting tips against the spread generated a 7-5-2 record. The only pick graded A that was readily available to you was Dallas plus 3.5 against the Eagles, which was a winner. In case you are wondering, my weekly NFL Lobster Bet was the Steelers plus 3 in Chicago, a bet that pushed. This means our all-time record with those high confidence plays stands at 15-6-1, a 70% winning rate. As always, if you wish to get in the action by receiving the best wager of the week in the NFL, sign up at the link below. We typically have between 50 and 90 subscribers, and we have been boosting our bankrolls since I began offering my top NFL pick of the week. Without further ado, let's dive into my predictions for the 3 games that will take place Thursday in Week 13 of the 2025 NFL season. Up first, we have a fantastic NFC North matchup featuring the Packers traveling to Ford Field to take on the Lions. In this match, Detroit is established as a 2.5-point favorite. Which team brings the most value here? In my humble opinion, I believe it is best to side with the Lions laying 2.5 points. However, this pick receives a C grade because my confidence level is not super high here. Since losing tight end Tucker Kraft to a season-ending injury, Green Bay's offense has not looked the same. Indeed, Jordan Love has averaged just 163 passing yards per game. That figure was 259 when Kraft was still in the lineup. His absence is sorely missed, especially with the wide receiver group being a little bit inconsistent. Running back Josh Jacobs hurt his knee a couple of weeks ago. He pushed hard to be on the field for the Minnesota game, but he could not make it in time. He seems on track to return, but will he be 100%? That remains to be seen, as knee injuries can truly limit running backs. One more reason why I like Detroit in this spot is the fact that they fit under the revenge factor. As a matter of fact, they suffered a pretty bad 27-13 defeat in the season opener at Lambeau Field. At first sight, the final score may not look too bad, but the Lions scored a late garbage TD that made it look better. In reality, the Lions were dominated from start to finish. I still find it amazing that Jahmyr Gibbs was limited to 9 rushes for 19 yards in that first meeting, whereas his teammate David Montgomery did not fare much better with 11 carries for 25 yards. The Lions will be looking for some payback for sure. As often mentioned here on this channel, the Lions offense does a lot better inside the comfort of Ford Field than on the road. Did you know that the Lions score 34 points per game on average at home compared to 26 as the visiting club? More precisely, Detroit has put at least 24 points on the board in each of their 5 home games. Some people may argue that the Lions have gone 0-3 this year when facing a team whose defense ranks in the top 9 in terms of points allowed per game. In those contests, Detroit scored just 13, 17, and 9 points. However, there is a huge difference between those games and this week's contest. The 3 matches in question all occurred on the road and outdoors. Jared Goff tends to struggle a lot more when playing outdoors, but that won't be the case on Thanksgiving. For all of these reasons, I am betting the Lions to win by a margin of 3 points or more against the Packers. This game might determine which team will win their division. I know the Bears are leading the NFC North right now, but I am not sold on them, and they have a brutal schedule to end their 2025 campaign. The second game of the day on Thanksgiving should be a dandy. Patrick Mahomes versus Dak Prescott. Kansas City is viewed as a 3.5-point favorite in this contest, and I do have a premium pick here. In fact, I am definitely betting the Cowboys plus 3.5 points, a pick rated A. The Chiefs have not looked good at all on the road this season. They own a 1-4 record in those conditions, with their only victory occurring against the lone NFL team that's currently eliminated from playoff contention, the Giants. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have been much better at home, as shown by their 3-1-1 record at AT&T Stadium. Let's take a look at Mahomes' numbers, whether he's been on the road or at home. His completion percentage is 61% on the road compared to 68% at home. What about his TD to interception ratio? On the road, he has tossed just 4 touchdown passes versus 3 picks. At home, he has thrown 14 TD passes and 3 interceptions. Big difference. Sure, Mahomes is about to face a pretty weak Cowboys defense, but this unit has looked vastly improved since acquiring Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson. In fact, did you know that Williams has received the highest PFF grade among all DLs since being shipped to Dallas? Before the trade deadline, the Cowboys had given up an average of 30.7 points per game. Since then, they have allowed 18.5. To make matters worse for KC, their right guard Trey Smith is likely out for this game. That's great news for Quinnen Williams and company. On the flip side, though, the Cowboys have already ruled out their left tackle, Tyler Guyton. He suffered a high ankle sprain, so he could be out for a few weeks. I like the fact that the Cowboys will be at home for the 4th time in a span of 5 weeks. In other words, they did not need to travel a lot in recent times, so they should be well rested. Star wide receiver Rashee Rice hurt his hamstring last week. He was listed as a limited participant for Monday's practice. He has a good chance of suiting up for this game, but if he ends up missing the contest, I would be even more excited about this wager. So, all in all, I find it unlikely that the Chiefs will beat the Cowboys by 4 points or more in Dallas. This is a must-win game for both clubs. To me, this match could go either way, so from a betting perspective, I am definitely siding with the Cowboys plus 3.5 points. The day will end with a good AFC North matchup between the Bengals and the Ravens. The level of interest has grown substantially given the fact that Joe Burrow will finally be back under center for Cincinnati. He has been sidelined since week 3 with a toe injury. The Bengals are 3-8, but they could potentially come back to win this division since the leaders own a 6-5 record. They still have to square off twice against the Ravens, so who knows? This is a long shot, but it's not impossible. Despite their poor record, the Bengals will be very motivated entering this contest. Not only are they facing division rivals, but they will get a mental boost from getting their signal caller back on the field. As you can guess, I have decided to back the Bengals plus 7 points in Baltimore on Thanksgiving. To me, the spread is too large here, especially with the Ravens being more or less convincing in recent times. Sure, they have won 5 in a row, but they have not necessarily beaten great teams and they did not do it in convincing fashion. Before his hamstring injury, Lamar was averaging 42 rushing yards per game. Since returning, his average dropped to 18. He seems more hesitant to run and is not as efficient when doing it. Even as a passer, Jackson has not been super impressive lately. he has been held under 200 passing yards in each of his past 3 outings, while tossing just 1 TD pass and 2 interceptions in those matches. I am aware that Baltimore's defense has done much better since its bye week. But let's not forget that they faced Tyrod Taylor, Dylan Gabriel, and JJ McCarthy in their 3 most recent contests. Joe Burrow will be a much more difficult test for sure, even if he ends up being a little rusty. But I'm sure that a toe injury did not prevent him from throwing many passes over the past several weeks. I like this pick, but it did not get the highest grade either. One of the reasons is the fact that I am worried about the Bengals missing wide receiver T. Higgins. He is a vital part of this offense. Still, this may not be a walk in the park for the Ravens. Cincinnati will also want to avenge 2 tight losses against those same Ravens last year. In fact, the Bengals lost in overtime at home before being defeated by a 1-point margin in Baltimore, after missing a 2-point attempt with 38 seconds remaining in the game. I expect a hard-fought battle that could go down to the wire. For this reason, I am placing a wager on the Cincinnati Bengals plus 7 points in Baltimore. I wish you all a great Thanksgiving. Don't forget that you are personally invited to subscribe to this week's NFL Lobster Bet, the absolute best wager of Week 13. This betting tip comes with a money-back guarantee as well, and we have enjoyed a solid 70% winning rate all time with those high confidence plays. Just follow the link in the comments below to be part of our group of savvy sports investors. I'm Professor MJ, holder of a PhD in statistics and bookie crusher since 1999. Thanks for watching!